Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into one of those topics that's surprisingly sneaky but potentially very valuable. Conditions you can claim through the VA without having them documented during active duty service. Yep, that's right. They don't have to be in your records, but you can still secure that service connection. Now grab your favorite drink, relax, and let's get into it. You might just find something that applies to you or a fellow veteran. And hey, it's more fun than trying to figure out the plot of Tenet. If you haven't seen the movie, it's similar to Inception, but more confusing in a good way. The great question: what conditions can you claim without documentation? So, today, we're digging into those conditions that don't need to be documented in your active duty treatment records. And yet, drumroll, you might still be able to get a service connection. Now, let's clear the air. Just because they don't need to be documented doesn't mean it's a cakewalk. There's still a process. But hey, knowing this is half the battle, right? Number 1, tinnitus. Ah, yes, that lovely ringing in your ears, which is like having a personal, very annoying concert that never ends. Here's the kicker though. You don't need to have tinnitus documented in your service records. You just have to word it properly. Were you exposed to loud noises in combat? Mention that. Were you working with noisy machinery? Mention your MOS and how you were probably more familiar with decibels than most rock stars. The trick is articulation, like telling that CMP examiner why you have tinnitus without giving them the reason that you're listening to metal too loud on your rock days. Seriously though, articulate it well, and that's half the battle. Number 2, PTSD, combat or non-combat. This is a big one. PTSD doesn't necessarily need direct documentation while you're in service. It's like those surprises in life that you didn't know you signed up for. If you have combat-related PTSD and it's mentioned in your DD-214, that's a great start. For example, if you're in Afghanistan, Iraq, or Kuwait, it's pretty likely you've been exposed to fear or hostile activities. What many veterans don't realize is that even if it's a non-combat PTSD, it can still be claimed, but you need to give some context. Maybe you were a Coast Guard member rescuing people during Hurricane Katrina, or perhaps at the Pentagon on 9/11. Details, people. The details matter. Number 3, parachute badge and air assault badge conditions. This one is close to my heart, as it involves some serious superhero level action. So if you've got back issues, neck issues, or even bilateral issues with your shoulders, elbows, wrists, you were awarded a parachute badge or an air assault badge, then you might just have a case. Here's the fun part: explaining the aftermath of jumping out of a plane. The excitement, the adrenaline, and oh yeah, the hard landings and the occasional dragging through the field. Your DD-214 can show that badge, but you're going to need to explain to that examiner how all those jumps didn't do wonders on your spine. Remember, if you were a parachute rigger or in something like the 82nd Airborne, you've got a good case. Lots of jumps mean lots of opportunity for injury. Number 4, presumptives. Agent Orange, Gulf War, and Camp Lejeune. Oh boy, the VA has a list, and if you were there during a specific time and you've got certain diagnosis, it's like being given a cheat sheet. Let's say you were exposed to Agent Orange. Some of the common conditions you can claim are things like type 2 diabetes, Parkinson's, prostate cancer, and even hypertension, which was recently added. If you've got the diagnosis and the records to prove you were in the right place at the right time, you've got yourself a solid case. No medical opinion needed. How's that for a silver lining? How to use these claims to your advantage? All right now, for the serious stuff. It all comes down to knowing what to claim, how to claim it, and fitting it into the VA's framework like a perfectly crafted IKEA shelf. Because if you miss a piece, it's coming down. Sure, some of these presumptives sound easy, but you still have to go through the hoops. Documentation, connecting the dots, and being ready to articulate everything to a VA examiner who may not be a veteran. So a quick recap for you legends out there. Tinnitus, claim it based on your MOS or acoustic trauma. PTSD, whether combat or non-combat, it's claimable. Just know the definitions and details. Parachute, air assault badges, document those conditions from your jumps. Presumptives, Think of Agent Orange, Gulf War, Camp Lejeune, and be ready with that diagnosis. If this helped you out, I have a course dropping soon. Because let's be real, everyone needs a little help navigating this stuff. And hey, if this video has you thinking, wow, VA claims are trickier than IKEA instruction manuals I tried to ignore, you're in the right place. Anyways, tinnitus is one of those conditions on the list, and there are ways to get up to 90% with just that one condition. I completely explain that in this next video.